The Clone Wars raged across 1,000 systems. The Jedi were stretched thin. The Republic was crumbling. And into this chaos came something no one, not even the Sith, had foreseen. It arrived not as a ship, not as an army, not as a plan within plans, but as pure, unstoppable rage given form. The Force trembled, not with prescience or prophecy, but with something older and more primal. The recognition that something beyond its influence had entered the galaxy. The explosion came at 1,500 hours Coruscant Standard Time, during the shift change, at the Fonder Shipyard subsidiary factory on level 2,000. Thousands of workers, human, Twi'lek, Rodian, a dozen other species, were streaming through the district when the sky tore open. Not hyperspace, not a meteor. Reality itself seemed to hemorrhage, spitting out a mass of green and purple that screamed as it fell, a sound of rage and confusion that made every being within 5 kilometers stop and look up in primal fear. The impact crater was 60 meters across. The shockwave shattered windows for 3 levels in every direction, knocked speeders from the skylanes, and triggered every seismic alarm in the sector. Emergency response droids converged immediately, their sensors trying to classify the impact. Meteorite, crashing ship, terrorist attack? Their readings made no sense. Massive energy signature, biological but impossibly dense. Radiation levels off the scale, but not in any spectrum they recognized. Then the thing in the crater moved. It rose slowly, smoke and dust cascading off green skin that seemed too solid, too present to be flesh. 8 feet tall, muscles that defied proportion or logic. Fists the size of a human torso clenching and unclenching. Purple pants, tattered and burned. And eyes, small, buried in that massive face that burned with mindless fury. The Hulk looked at Coruscant and saw threat. Saw metal. Saw crowds. Saw confusion. Saw anger. Hulk smash. The roar echoed through the factory district like a physical force. Then he moved, and the destruction began. A parked cargo hauler, 30 tons of Duracrete and engine, went flying through the air as the Hulk punched it with casual contempt. It crashed through a factory wall, triggering an explosion that lit up the afternoon sky. Workers scattered, screaming. The Hulk grabbed a support pillar and ripped it from its foundation, swinging it like a club into a nearby building. Permacrete and metal crumbled like paper. "Leave Hulk alone," he bellowed at the fleeing crowds, his damaged mind interpreting their fear as aggression. Hulk not want trouble, but trouble had already arrived. Coruscant security forces responded within minutes. 3 patrol speeders, dozen officers with blaster rifles. They established a perimeter and opened fire. Blaster bolts designed to stun a Wookiee converging on the green giant's center mass. The Hulk barely noticed. The energy bolts splashed against his skin, leaving no marks, no burns, nothing. He turned toward the security forces, and his eyes narrowed with recognition. They were shooting at him. They were attacking him, just like everyone always did. "Leave Hulk alone." He leaped, not flew, but leaped, clearing 50 meters in a single bound to land directly on one of the speeders. The vehicle crumpled under his weight like an aluminum can. The officers inside barely managed to bail out before the Hulk seized the wreckage and hurled it into the next speeder, creating a mid-air explosion that rained debris across the district. "All units, fall back. I repeat, fall back. This is beyond CSF capabilities." The ranking officer's voice cracked with panic as he called for evacuation. "We need Jedi. We need the Coruscant Guard. We need..." The Hulk grabbed a massive turbine assembly from the factory floor easily, 100 tons, and lifted it over his head with a roar that shattered nearby windows. Then he threw it. The projectile carved through the district like a missile, demolishing everything in its path before crashing into level 1900 below, triggering secondary explosions as it ruptured gas lines and power conduits. In the Jedi Temple, 3 kilometers away, the disturbance rippled through the Force like a shockwave. Every Jedi in the building felt it simultaneously, not a presence in the Force, but an absence shaped like violence. A void where the living Force should flow but couldn't penetrate. Masters rose from meditation. Padawans gasped. And in the council chamber, "Master." Yoda's ears twitched as he sensed something he had not felt in 8 centuries of life. Wrong. This is, he murmured. In the Force, this creature is not. Yet exist, it does. Mace Windu was already accessing the security feeds, his expression darkening as he watched. The green giant tear through Coruscant's infrastructure with terrifying ease. What is that thing? And where did it come from? Sensors detected a massive energy surge. Origin unknown. Reported a clone commander via hologram. Whatever this is, it didn't arrive by ship. It just appeared, and it's tearing through the factory district. Civilian casualties mounting. We need immediate Jedi intervention. Assemble a strike team, Mace commanded, his hand already moving toward his lightsaber. Obi-Wan, Anakin, you're with me. We can tame this threat before it reaches the Senate district. A creature so strong, yet in the Force, invisible. Yoda shook his head slowly. Caution, we must exercise. Different, this threat is. Beyond our understanding, perhaps. But there was no time for caution. The Hulk was moving through Coruscant like a natural disaster given will and purpose. Every attempt to stop him only made him angrier. Every weapon that failed to harm him only proved what his rage already told him. They were all trying to hurt him, control him, cage him. Just like always. Just like Banner's entire life. Somewhere deep inside the gamma-radiated fury, Bruce Banner's consciousness screamed for control and found none. The displacement, the confusion, the alien environment, it had all triggered a transformation so complete that Banner couldn't surface even if he wanted to. The Hulk was fully in control, and he would remain so until either he was left alone or everything around him was rubble. A squad of clone troopers, the Coruscant guards, elite, established heavy weapons, positions, and opened fire with rotary cannons. Thousands of blaster bolts per second converged on the Hulk's position. The air glowed red with contained plasma. The sustained barrage would have vaporized a tank. The Hulk walked through it. The energy simply splashed off his skin, his gamma-saturated cells absorbing and dispersing the plasma faster than it could accumulate. He reached the nearest heavy cannon, grabbed the barrel while it was still firing, and crushed it like a tin can. Then he swung the entire weapon assembly, tripod, gunner, and all, into the next position, scattering soldiers like toys. He's not even slowing down. One trooper shouted into his comm, "Sir, our weapons aren't doing anything." He's getting stronger. And he was. The Hulk's unique physiology, gamma radiation bonding at the cellular level, triggered by adrenaline and rage, meant that every attack, every threat, every moment of stress literally made him physically more powerful. The attacks that should have worn him down were fueling his transformation into something even more terrifying. If you want to see more characters enter the Star Wars galaxy, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character you'd want to see in the comments below. May the Force be with you. By the time the Jedi arrived, the factory district was in ruins. Fires burned on 3 levels. Collapsed buildings blocked major thoroughfares. Thousands of civilians huddled in shelters, traumatized. And in the center of the devastation, the Hulk stood alone, chest heaving, fists clenched, looking for the next threat. 3 Jedi dropped from a Republic gunship: Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Anakin Skywalker, the greatest warriors of the Jedi Order, veterans of 100 battles, masters of the Force. They ignited their lightsabers in perfect synchronization, purple, blue, and blue, blades humming with contained plasma. By the authority of the Jedi Order and the Galactic Republic, stand down. Mace's voice carried the weight of absolute command. We don't want to harm you, but we will stop you. The Hulk turned to face them, and for a moment, something flickered in his eyes, recognition, maybe, of another type of warrior. Then his lips pulled back in a snarl. Little men with glow sticks think they can stop Hulk. He smashed his fists together, creating a shockwave that cracked the pavement. Hulk's strongest there is. Mace reached out with the Force, attempting what always worked, a calming influence, persuasion. The gentle touch that could soothe even the wildest mind. His power touched the Hulk's consciousness and slid off, like trying to grip smoke or hold water. There was nothing there to influence, no mind to soothe. Just rage, pure and impenetrable, wrapped around a damaged psyche so fractured that not even the Force could find purchase. I can't reach him, Mace said, shock creeping into his voice. The Force. It's like he doesn't exist. Then we do this the hard way, Anakin said, and charged. The Chosen One, the most powerful Force user in generations, leaped 30 feet and brought his lightsaber down in a strike that could cut through starship hull plating. The blade met the Hulk's forearm as he raised it in defense. For a heartbeat, plasma met skin, and everyone expected to see green flesh sever and burn. The lightsaber skittered across the Hulk's arm like a dull knife on armor plate, leaving a thin scorch mark that healed before their eyes. Impossible, Obi-Wan breathed. The Hulk grinned, a terrible expression on that face, and swatted at Anakin. The Jedi's reflexes were superhuman, enhanced by the Force, honed by years of combat. He twisted midair, using Force speed to dodge. The Hulk's hand missed by centimeters, but still created a pressure wave that sent Anakin tumbling. Now Hulk shows little men what real strength is. The battle that followed would be retold in clone barracks and Jedi training halls for years to come, and never be quite believed. 3 Jedi Masters, working in perfect coordination, versus one rage-driven creature that shouldn't exist. Lightsabers flashed. The Force was called upon in ways rarely seen outside Sith Wars. And through it all, the Hulk laughed, roared, and endured. When a Jedi's blade finally found an opening and stabbed directly into his abdomen, the wound closed around the plasma blade and pushed it back out, healed within seconds by gamma-powered regeneration. The Hulk was immune to their greatest weapons, stronger than their mightiest Force pushes, faster than physics said something his size should be. And with every moment of combat, every surge of adrenaline, every spike of rage, he grew stronger still. Somewhere in orbit, Count Dooku watched the battle through a cloaked surveillance drone, and behind his aristocratic features, a terrible smile formed. This creature, this Hulk, was beyond the Jedi's power to control, which meant it could be his weapon. All he needed was the right approach, the right leverage. And on Coruscant, as the Hulk grabbed a fallen cargo container and prepared to throw it at the retreating Jedi, he paused. Something had changed in the crowd of observers. Someone who smelled different from the soldiers and warriors. Someone whose fear carried notes of compassion rather than hostility. Senator Padme Amidala stepped forward from the evacuation shelter, ignoring her security detail's protests, and looked up at the green giant with eyes that saw past the monster to the suffering underneath. "Please," she said quietly. "You're afraid. I can see it. You don't want to hurt anyone. You just want them to stop hurting you." The Hulk stared at her, the cargo container still raised above his head. And for the first time since arriving in this galaxy, his rage flickered with confusion. The silence that followed Padme's words felt like the eye of a storm, fragile, temporary, but profound. The Hulk stood frozen, the massive cargo container held effortlessly above his head, his small eyes fixed on the senator, who had dared to step forward when warriors had failed. Around them, fire still burned. Clone troopers maintained their positions behind rubble, weapons trained but not firing. The 3 Jedi remained ready, lightsabers humming, waiting for the moment to resume combat. But Padme Amidala, former Queen of Naboo, current senator and secret wife of Anakin Skywalker, did something that no amount of Force power or military might have accomplished. She treated the Hulk like a person. "I'm not going to hurt you," she continued, taking another step closer. Her security detail hissed warnings into their comms, but she ignored them. "I can see you're lost. Confused. This isn't your home, is it?" The Hulk's massive chest heaved with each breath. The cargo container trembled in his grip, not from strain, but from indecision. Deep within the gamma-irradiated consciousness, Bruce Banner stirred, drawn to the surface by the first voice in this nightmare that hadn't demanded surrender or threatened violence. "Home," the Hulk's voice rumbled, quieter now, but still capable of rattling windows. "Hulk, far from home. Hulk doesn't know this place. Strange metal everywhere. Too many people. Too loud. Too wrong. Padme, get back." Anakin called out, his voice tight with fear for his wife. "That thing could kill you in a second." "That person," Padme corrected, not taking her eyes off the Hulk, "is clearly suffering. Look at him, Anakin. Really look. He's terrified." Mace Windu extended his Force senses again, this time not trying to control or calm, but simply to observe. What he felt made him reassess everything. The creature's rage wasn't malicious, it was defensive, protective, a wounded animal lashing out at perceived threats. And beneath it, buried deep, he sensed something else. A brilliant mind trapped in a prison of gamma radiation and psychological trauma, screaming to be heard but unable to break through. She's right, May said quietly to Obi-Wan. This isn't a monster. It's a tragedy. The Hulk slowly lowered the cargo container, setting it down with surprising gentleness. He crouched, still massive, still intimidating, but trying to make himself less threatening. Little lady, not afraid of Hulk. I am afraid, Padme admitted honestly. But I'm more afraid of what will happen if we keep treating you like an enemy instead of someone who needs help. What's your name? Hulk. Hulk is. The green giant's face contorted with concentration, with the effort of thought through the fog of rage. Hulk is Banner. No, Banner is Hulk? Both. Neither. Confusing. He pressed his massive hands against his head, and the Jedi tensed, but he was simply trying to think. Banner, smart. Banner, weak. Hulk, strong. Hulk, protect Banner. But Banner gone now. Only Hulk. Bruce Banner, Padme said softly, recognizing the psychological fracture she dealt with. Enough trauma survivors in her political career to recognize dissociation when she saw it. That's your other name, isn't it? The person you were before you became the Hulk. The mention of the name triggered something. The Hulk's eyes widened, and for just a moment, they changed, less rage, more awareness. Banner. His voice shifted, becoming slightly more articulate, slightly more human. Bruce Banner. Scientist. Gamma. Radiation experiment. Accident. Monster. Can't control it. Can't stop it. Every time they hunt him, hurt him, he comes out. Every time Banner tries to have peace, someone takes it away. The story tumbled out in fragments. Barely coherent, but heartbreaking in its simplicity. A scientist trying to help people. An experiment gone wrong. Years of being hunted, feared, weaponized. The military chasing him. Superheroes trying to contain him. Nowhere safe, nowhere to rest. Nowhere to be just Bruce Banner without the Hulk lurking beneath his skin, waiting to explode. And then, bright light, pain, ripping, falling through nothing and everything. Anger because Banner was finally somewhere quiet. Finally had moment of peace. And universe took it away again. Brought Banner, brought Hulk, here. To loud place. Metal place. Place that smells wrong and feels wrong, and the Hulk's fists clenched again. Rage building. Just wants to be left alone. The last words came out as a roar that cracked nearby walls. But Padme didn't flinch. I understand. And I'm going to help you. But first, you need to stop destroying the city. These people aren't your enemies. They're just afraid, the same as you. They shot Hulk. Little metal men with red sticks shot Hulk first. Because they didn't understand, Padme said reasonably. You appeared from nowhere. You were smashing things. They thought you were attacking. It was a misunderstanding. But it doesn't have to continue. We can find you somewhere quiet. Somewhere away from the crowds. And we can look for a way to send you home. The Hulk's expression shifted through a dozen emotions. Hope. Suspicion, fear, anger. And finally, reluctant trust. Little lady promises? Not trick Hulk. Not try to cage Hulk like others always do. I promise, Padme said. You have my word as a senator of the Galactic Republic. Before the Hulk could respond, a new presence made itself known. The air shimmered, and a hologram materialized 20 meters away, tall. Aristocratic, wrapped in elegant robes. Count Dooku, former Jedi Master turned Sith Lord, regarded the scene with calculating interest. How touching, Dooku's cultured voice carried across the ruins. The good senator, always trying to save the unredeemable. But I wonder, creature, if you truly understand your situation. You're trapped in a galaxy at war, surrounded by beings who fear you. How long before? Even the senator's compassion turns to calls for your destruction. Dooku. Anakin ignited his lightsaber fully, stepping protectively closer to Padme. This is Republic space. You're far from separatist territory. I go where opportunity calls. Young Skywalker. Dooku's hologram turned its attention fully to the Hulk. And you, magnificent creature, are an opportunity beyond measure. You possess power that even the Force cannot touch. Strength that makes Jedi Masters look like children. Imagine what you could accomplish with proper guidance. Imagine the revenge you could take on all those who hunted you, feared you, tried to cage you. The Hulk's eyes narrowed. Old man thinks Hulk stupid? Thinks Hulk doesn't recognize manipulation. Dooku smiled. I think you're a survivor. The Jedi will try to contain you. They always do. They'll speak of helping you while planning to imprison you somewhere safe, where you can't threaten their precious order. But I offer you something different. A place in the Confederacy of Independent Systems. We embrace strength. We don't cage our weapons. We unleash them. I am not a weapon. The Hulk's roar shattered nearby windows. Hulk not tool. Hulk not soldier. Everyone always wants to use Hulk. Military, heroes, now space wizard. He grabbed a piece of rubble and hurled it at the hologram. The rock passed through harmlessly, but the message was clear. Hulk smash anyone who tries to control Hulk. Of course, Dooku said smoothly, unbothered by the display. I wouldn't dream of controlling you. Merely pointing you in directions that serve us both. The Republic has wronged you already, attacked you the moment you arrived. The Jedi struck at you with weapons. They see you as a threat. But the Separatists? We see you as what you are, a force of nature that should be respected, not controlled. Mace Windu stepped forward, his voice carrying the authority of the Jedi Council. Don't listen to him. Dooku serves a Sith Lord. Everything he says is poison, designed to manipulate you into serving evil. Evil? Dooku laughed. How Jedi of you, Windu, to reduce complex galactic politics to simple morality. The Separatists fight for independence from a corrupt republic that taxes outer rim worlds into poverty while inner core planets feast. We fight for self-determination. If that makes us evil in your eyes, perhaps your eyes have grown too accustomed to looking at the world through narrow Jedi philosophy. The Hulk looked between the Jedi, the Senator, and Dooku's hologram, his massive hands opening and closing in frustration. Too many voices, too many agendas, too much like the world he'd left behind, where everyone wanted something from him, where Bruce Banner's humanity was forgotten in favor of the Hulk's usefulness. Everyone stopped talking. The shockwave from his voice knocked over nearby debris. Hulk doesn't care about your wars. Hulk doesn't care about republics or separatists or Jedi or Sith. Hulk just wants. The sentence was cut off by an explosion. Not from the Hulk, but from above. A separatist gunship, real, not holographic, descended from the clouds, firing stun missiles designed to capture, not kill. The Jedi scattered, deflecting what they could. Padme dove behind cover. But the Hulk, still recovering from his dimensional displacement and the earlier battles, took the full barrage. The stun fields were designed to immobilize a battalion. They hit the Hulk like a wave of electrical agony, locking his muscles, overloading his nervous system. He roared in pain and rage, falling to one knee as the gunship's tractor beam locked onto him. Excellent, Dooku's hologram observed. My battle droids will have you in separatist custody within the hour. There, away from Jedi interference. We can have a proper conversation about your future. But Dooku had made a critical miscalculation. The stun field caused pain. The tractor beam was a form of restraint. And pain plus restraint equaled the one thing that made the Hulk truly dangerous: rage. The transformation was visible. The Hulk's muscles swelled. His skin darkened to a deeper emerald, veins bulging with gamma-radiated fury. The stun field that should have kept him paralyzed began to crack. Literal electricity sparking as his body adapted, evolved, became resistant to what was harming him. Bad move, the Hulk growled, his voice dropping to a register that made nearby buildings vibrate. Hulk warned everyone. Hulk said leave him alone. But no one listens. No one ever listens. He reached up and grabbed the tractor beam, the invisible column of force that was dragging him skyward, and pulled. The gunship, a 100-ton war machine, was yanked from the sky like a toy on a string. The Hulk swung it in a wide arc and smashed it into the ground, creating a crater that swallowed half a city block. Droids spilled from the wreckage, and the Hulk went through them like a hurricane through grass, each punch obliterating metal and circuits. This is getting out of control, Obi-Wan said, deflecting blaster fire from the surviving droids. We need to evacuate the sector before. Another explosion, this time from the opposite direction. More gunships, a full separatist strike force, descending with overwhelming firepower. Dooku had committed resources, clearly unwilling to let this prize escape. The air filled with blaster fire, missiles, and the electronic chatter of battle droids advancing in formation. The Hulk stood in the center of the chaos, and something shifted in his eyes. Not calming. He was far beyond that now, but a terrible clarity. He was surrounded by armies again, hunted again, attacked again, just like always. Just like it would always be, no matter what galaxy he was in. Fine, he said, his voice terribly quiet beneath the sound of battle. Hulk shows everyone what happens when they won't leave him alone. Hulk shows everyone what real monster looks like. He clapped his hands together. The shockwave was beyond anything he'd produced before. A physical wall of compressed air expanding at supersonic speed, carrying the force of his rage made kinetic. The blast flattened everything within a 100-meter radius. Droids, gunships, buildings, vehicles. The Jedi barely managed to shield themselves and Padme with the Force. And even then, they were thrown back like leaves in a storm. When the dust cleared, the Hulk was gone. Leaped away, a green comet arcing across Coruscant's skyline, heading for the upper levels and the open air beyond. Behind him, he left destruction, fear, and the uncomfortable realization that the galaxy had just encountered something that defied every rule it thought it understood. Padme climbed to her feet, bruised but alive, and looked at the path of destruction. "We need to find him again," she said firmly. "Before either side does something that can't be undone. He's not a monster. He's a person in pain. And if we don't help him, this galaxy will turn him into the very thing we fear." Anakin pulled her close, relief and fear warring in his expression. "You can't save everyone, Padme." "No," she agreed. "But I can try. And right now, that man, Bruce Banner, needs someone to try." Far above, Darth Sidious sat in his chancellor's office, watching reports of the incident with hooded eyes. This creature, this Hulk, represented a variable outside his carefully orchestrated plans, immune to force manipulation, stronger than any weapon in his arsenal, a wild card that could topple carefully balanced schemes. "Interesting," he murmured. "Most interesting indeed." The hunt for the Hulk had begun in earnest, and every faction in the Clone Wars now had a new priority: capture, kill, or recruit the Green Giant before their enemies could. But none of them understood the fundamental truth that Bruce Banner had learned through years of suffering. You can't control the Hulk. You can only survive him. The Hulk's leap carried him across 15 kilometers of Coruscant's sprawling cityscape, from the ruined factory district to the upper atmospheric levels where the wealthiest citizens lived in towering spires that scraped the clouds. He landed on a platform designed for luxury speeders, his impact cracking the ornate Duracrete and sending a parked senatorial transport tumbling over the edge. The few beings present, a Twi'lek valet, 2 human socialites, scattered with screams that made the Hulk's rage spike again. More running, more screaming. He grabbed the platform's decorative railing and ripped it free, hurling it into the distance where it disappeared, into the city's endless vertical maze. Everyone always afraid of Hulk. Well, maybe Hulk should be scary. But even as he roared, something Banner-like struggled beneath the surface. The scientist's consciousness, suppressed by trauma and gamma radiation, clawed for control. "This isn't right. These people haven't hurt us. We're becoming what they think we are." The internal conflict manifested physically. The Hulk's hands went to his head, gripping his skull as if he could squeeze the confusion out. "No. Banner, stay down. Hulk in control. Hulk keeps Banner safe." He stumbled toward the edge of the platform, looking out over the impossibly vast city. Thousands of levels, billions of beings. Metal and lights stretching to every horizon. No wilderness. No escape. No peace. Where does Hulk go? Whole planet is city. No place to hide. No place to be alone. That's when he felt it. A presence approaching fast, cutting through the air with repulsor engines. Not the military gunships from before, but something smaller, more agile. The Hulk spun to face the incoming threat, fists raised, ready to swat another attacker from the sky. But the ship that landed was an elegant diplomatic cruiser, and the figure who emerged with hands raised in peace was Senator Padme Amidala, flanked by C-3PO and a reluctant security detail. "Please don't run," Padme called out. "I came alone. Well, mostly alone, because I want to help. No Jedi, no clones, no weapons. Just me." The Hulk's eyes narrowed. Little Lady followed. Hulk. Persistent. Hulk could hurt Little Lady. Accidentally. Hulk, very strong. Little lady, very not strong. I know the risk, Padme said, stepping closer despite her security team's protests. But I also know you don't want to hurt me. You've had a dozen chances to harm innocent people, and you haven't. You throw things past them, not at them. You roar to scare them away, not to attack. You're angry, but you're not evil. The observation pierced through the Hulk's defenses. His massive shoulders sagged slightly. Hulk. Hulk tries not to hurt little people, but sometimes rage too strong. Sometimes Hulk forgets to be careful. That's why Banner created Hulk in first place. To be strong. To be powerful. To not be weak anymore. But strength came with price. Came with anger. Came with losing control. Then let me help you find control, Padme said. I have resources. The Republic has scientists, medical facilities, force healers. We can study your condition, look for a cure, or at least a way to manage it. And while we do that, I can arrange for you to be somewhere isolated. Somewhere with space to breathe. For a moment, hope flickered across the Hulk's features. Then suspicion returned. Little lady, promises before. But then space wizards came. Then old man with hologram came. Then flying ships tried to capture Hulk. Everyone wants to use Hulk. Little lady might be different, but little lady not in charge. Little lady just one voice in big government that already attacked Hulk. You're right, Padme admitted. I'm one senator among thousands. I can't control the military or the Jedi Council, but I can offer you something no one else has. A choice. Come with me voluntarily. Let me advocate for you. Help me show the Republic that you're not a threat they need to eliminate. Or run and spend however long you're trapped in this galaxy being hunted by every faction with the power to chase you. The Hulk considered this, his primitive but not stupid mind working through the implications. Before he could answer, C-3PO, who had been uncharacteristically quiet, suddenly chirped in alarm. Oh dear, Mistress Padme, my sensors detect multiple incoming ships, Republic gunships, and, oh my, separatist fighters as well. The sky erupted with vessels. A dozen Republic LAT gunships approached from the Senate District, bearing clone troopers and Jedi reinforcements. From the opposite direction, separatist vulture droids and a recusant class destroyer descended through the cloud layer, disgorging hundreds of battle droids via drop pods. Both sides had tracked the Hulk's landing, and both sides were determined to secure him. This is Commander Cody to all Republic forces. A voice crackled over open channels. Target is considered extremely dangerous. Engage with non-lethal containment measures only. The Jedi Council wants him alive for study. Separatist units. This is Tactical Droid Commander TX-20. Another voice overlapped. Capture the biological weapon intact. Count Dooku has authorized any necessary force. Eliminate Republic interference. The Hulk looked at Padme, and in his eyes, she saw betrayal. Little lady said she came alone, but brought armies. I didn't. I swear I didn't know they were following. Padme's voice carried genuine distress. They must have tracked my ship. Everyone lies to Hulk. The Green Giant's voice dropped to a dangerous register. Even nice little lady with kind eyes. Everyone wants to capture Hulk. Use Hulk. Make Hulk into weapon. His muscles swelled as rage built again. Hulk will not be weapon. The first Republic gunship opened fire, not with blasters, but with capture nets. Made of electrified Duracrete, designed to restrain force-sensitive fugitives. The nets engulfed the Hulk, thousands of volts coursing through the material. He roared in pain and anger, grabbing the nets and tearing them apart like tissue paper. His body was already adapting, building resistance to electrical attacks with each passing second. Separatist vulture droids screamed past, firing stun missiles and grappling cables. The Hulk caught two cables mid-flight and yanked, pulling the droids from the sky and smashing them together like cymbals. Metal shrapnel rained across the platform. All forces intensify containment efforts. Commander Cody's voice was urgent. Deploy the heavy stunners. From the largest gunship, clone troopers rolled out a massive device, a portable ray shield projector designed to create impenetrable barriers. They activated it, and a shimmering blue dome began to form around the Hulk, contracting slowly, designed to compress him into immobility. The Hulk punched the shield. The barrier held but rippled with the impact. He punched again, harder. The projector began to smoke. Third punch, and the device exploded, sending clones diving for cover. The shield collapsed. By the Force, he's stronger than our best equipment. Obi-Wan Kenobi's voice came over the comm as his fighter joined the fray. We need to rethink our approach. But the Separatists had no such doubts. If Republic cannot contain him, we will. TX-20 declared. The Recusant destroyer's main cannon designed to punch through capital ship hulls rotated toward the platform. Fire. The blast was devastating. Not aimed to kill, but to stun, a modified ion cannon that could disable entire squadrons. The blue-white energy beam struck the Hulk center mass, and for a moment, his entire body seized. Gamma-radiated cells overloaded by the massive electrical discharge. He dropped to one knee, smoke rising from his skin. Padme screamed his name, or tried to. She was being pulled back to her ship by her security team. The Separatist droids began their landing. Hundreds of them, preparing to secure the stunned target. That's when the Hulk's eyes opened, and they burned with fury beyond anything he'd shown before. The ion cannon hadn't weakened him. It had made him angry. Hulk said, "No." The transformation was terrifying. His body swelled, muscles stacking on muscles in ways that defied biology. His skin darkened to forest green, veins glowing with gamma radiation visible beneath the surface. This was the Hulk beyond rage, beyond reason, the world breaker. The aspect of Banner's psyche that emerged when pushed past all limits. He grabbed the platform itself, hundreds of tons of Duracrete and metal, and ripped it free from its support structure. For a moment, the entire landing pad hung, suspended in his grip. Then he threw it. The improvised projectile flew like a discus, spinning through the air, and struck the Recusant destroyer broadside. The impact punched completely through the ship's hull, triggering cascading explosions as reactor cores breached. The massive vessel began listing, trailing fire and debris as it plummeted toward the lower levels. All Republic forces, fall back. Repeat, fall back. Obi-Wan's fighter peeled away as the destroyer's death throes sent shockwaves through the surrounding airspace. This has escalated beyond containment. We need to evacuate the sector. But the Hulk wasn't done. He leaped to the nearest gunship, landing on its hull with enough force to crumple armor plating. The pilot tried to shake him off with evasive maneuvers, but the Hulk simply tore through the hull like paper, pulling out power cores and engines, reducing the sophisticated war machine to scrap metal in seconds. He rode the wreckage down, jumping to the next gunship, then the next. A green wrecking ball bouncing between vessels. Clone troopers abandoned their attack runs, focusing on evacuation and damage control. Separatist forces, seeing their destroyer destroyed and their battle droids being torn apart wholesale, began a tactical retreat. But the Hulk pursued them, leaping from building to building, each landing creating craters, each jump carrying him hundreds of meters. In the Jedi Temple, Master Yoda watched the carnage through holographic feeds, his ancient face troubled. Lost, this battle is. Escalate further, we must not. More violence, only more anger creates. Different approach, we need. Master Yoda's right. Mace Windu agreed reluctantly. We're making him stronger. Every attack fuels his power. This creature doesn't operate by rules we understand. Then perhaps, said a soft voice from the chamber's entrance, we should stop trying to control him and start listening to the one person he almost trusted. They turned to see Padme Amidala striding into the council chamber. Protocol be damned. Her dress was torn, her face smudged with soot, but her eyes blazed with determination. Senator, Mace began, this is highly irregular. So is attacking a frightened, displaced being with overwhelming military force. Padme's voice cracked like a whip. I was making progress. He was talking to me. He was considering accepting help. And then your gunships and separatist forces turned it into a war zone. You've proven everything his paranoia told him, that no one in this galaxy sees him as a person, only as a weapon to acquire or a threat to eliminate. The creature is destroying Coruscant, a Rodian council member protested. Dozens dead, hundreds injured, billions in property damage. We must respond. For long, but long enough to sense something through the Force, or rather, the absence where the Force should be. There's no malice there, just pain and fear buried under rage. We're treating the symptom, not the cause. Then what do you propose, Senator? Yoda asked, his ears tilting forward with genuine interest. Padme took a breath, centering herself. Let me try again. No military escort. No Jedi backup unless he requests it. Just me, proving that someone in this galaxy is willing to see him as more than a problem to solve. If I can reach Banner, the man beneath the Hulk, we might be able to help him. But it has to be his choice, not our imposition. You're asking permission to approach one of the most dangerous entities this galaxy has ever seen, Mace said slowly. Alone, without protection. Yes, the Senate will never approve. I'm not asking the Senate, Padme said. I'm asking the Jedi Council. You claim to serve the light side of the Force, to value all life, to see the person rather than the threat. Prove it. Give me a chance to save Bruce Banner before this galaxy turns him into the monster it thinks he already is. The council members exchanged glances. This was unprecedented, dangerous, potentially suicidal. But there was something in Padme's conviction that resonated with the light side of the Force, a pure note of compassion that hadn't been heard in the Jedi Temple since before the war began. Very well, Yoda finally said. Permission granted, you have. But careful, you must be. Strong with compassion, you are. But compassion alone, not always enough. As Padme left the temple to prepare, Anakin followed, catching her arm. Padme, this is insane. Let me come with you. At least as backup. She kissed him softly. You mean well, Ani. But you're what Bruce Banner fears. Power trying to control him. I have to do this alone. Trust me. High above the city, the Hulk sat on the spire of an abandoned building, watching the fires burn across Coruscant's levels. The rage was subsiding, leaving behind exhaustion and the painful clarity that Banner always felt after the Hulk's rampages. They'll never stop coming, he said to the empty air. This galaxy, the old one, doesn't matter. Hulk is always the monster, always the weapon, always hunted. But somewhere in his gamma-fractured mind, he remembered the senator's eyes. The way she'd looked at him, not with fear or calculation, but with genuine compassion. Like maybe, just maybe, someone actually saw Bruce Banner instead of just the Hulk. It was probably a lie. They all lied eventually. But what if it wasn't? Coruscant's emergency services worked through the night, battling fires on 17 levels, evacuating damaged structures, and treating the wounded. The Senate convened an emergency session, debates raging about the green menace that had appeared from nowhere and thrown the capital into chaos. Some called for immediate military action, orbital bombardment if necessary. Others urged caution, noting that every aggressive response had only made the creature stronger. And a small faction, led by Senator Bail Organa, argued that the being might not be a threat at all, just severely misunderstood. The Separatist Council held their own emergency meeting via hologram. Count Dooku stood at the center, his aristocratic features thoughtful, as reports came in about the destroyers, loss, and the battle droids. Complete failure to secure their target. This creature is beyond our current capabilities to capture. General Grievous rasped, his mechanical voice carrying frustration. Our weapons are insufficient. Perhaps we should consider elimination rather than acquisition. No, Dooku said firmly. That much power, immune to Force influence, resistant to nearly all conventional weapons. It's too valuable to destroy. We simply need a different approach. His eyes gleamed with dark calculation. Fear and force won't work. But perhaps compassion might, or at least the appearance of it. In another corner of the galaxy, aboard a hidden facility, Darth Sidious, Sheev, Palpatine in his true form, studied reports of the Hulk with intense interest. This being represented a variable outside his carefully orchestrated plans. Yes. But variables could be exploited. Everything could be turned to serve the dark side, given the right leverage. Send word to the Jedi Council, he instructed his aide. The Chancellor supports Senator Amidala's diplomatic approach. We must appear reasonable, compassionate, even as we prepare contingencies. He smiled behind his hood and dispatched the Inquisitorius to observe. If the Senator fails, we'll need to know this creature's weaknesses. Everything has weaknesses. The Hulk, meanwhile, had found something resembling peace on the upper reaches of an abandoned industrial tower, far from the populated levels. He sat with his massive legs dangling over the edge, staring at the twin moons rising over Coruscant's endless sprawl. The anger had burned down to embers, leaving behind something worse: loneliness. Banner would know what to do, he muttered to himself. Banner always has plans. Equations. Science. Hulk. Just as smashing. He looked at his huge green hands. Capable of crushing starships, but unable to perform surgery, write equations, or do any of the 1,000 delicate things Bruce Banner had devoted his life to. What good is being strongest if strongest is also loneliest? A sound behind him. The whisper of repulsor engines, carefully throttled to minimum noise. The Hulk tensed, ready to leap, ready to fight, ready to smash whatever threat had found him. But when he turned, he saw only a small, unarmed shuttle settling onto the tower's landing platform. The ramp extended, and Padme Amidala walked out alone. No Jedi, no clones, no weapons visible. Just her, carrying something small in her hands. "I'm keeping my promise," she called out. "No armies this time. No tricks. Just me, wanting to talk." The Hulk studied her with suspicious eyes, his enhanced senses searching for hidden threats. But his hearing detected no other heartbeats in the shuttle. No weapons charging. No ambush waiting. Just one brave, or foolish, woman who'd somehow tracked him to this isolated spot. "How did little lady find Hulk?" he asked, not moving from his perch. "You're not exactly subtle when you move," Padme said with a slight smile. "Approaching slowly. Every jump registers on seismic sensors. And I had help from someone who wanted me to succeed, Master. Yoda gave me your probable trajectory." She held up what she was carrying, a small device projecting a hologram. "But I also brought something I think you need to see." She activated the projection. An image appeared, pulled from Republic intelligence archives, a file on gamma radiation research. Incomplete, but detailed enough. Project Gamma Dawn. Lead scientist, Dr. Bruce Banner. Brilliant physicist. 7 doctorates. Worked on clean energy solutions. A good man trying to help people. And then the accident. The explosion. The transformation. The years of running. They have files on Banner? The Hulk's voice carried something between rage and wounded vulnerability. How? How does this galaxy know about Banner? We don't, not completely. But when you arrived, the energy signature was unlike anything we'd encountered. Our scientists analyzed the residual radiation and found fragments, echoes, really, of data encoded in the dimensional rift you came through. Almost like the universe itself was trying to explain what you are. Padme studied his reaction carefully. They found enough to piece together your story. Not all of it, but enough to understand you're not a monster. You're a victim of circumstance who's been hunted your entire existence. The Hulk's massive shoulders sagged. Victim? Hulk not like that word. Victims are weak. Helpless. Hulk is strong. Hulk is powerful. Hulk is... He trailed off, the lie obvious even to himself. Hulk is scared. Of hurting people. Of never going home. Of being monster everyone thinks Hulk is. Then let me help you, Padme said, daring to move closer. Not capture you. Not study you like a specimen. Help you. Bruce Banner is a scientist. This galaxy has scientists too, brilliant ones, who understand physics and biology and energy fields. Maybe they can find a way to stabilize your condition, or find a way to send you home. But you have to trust someone. Trust. The Hulk said the word like it was poison. Banner trusted people. Trusted General Ross when he said experiment was safe. Trusted SHIELD when they said they wanted to help. Trusted Avengers when they said they were friends. Everyone lies. Everyone uses. Everyone. I'm not everyone. Padme interrupted gently. I'm someone who's seen what war does to people. How it turns complex beings into simple labels. Enemy, ally, threat, asset. I've watched this galaxy lose its compassion, bit by bit, as the Clone Wars grind on. I don't want to see it lose more. And I don't want to see you become what this war would make you. The Hulk was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, he spoke in a voice that was more Banner than Hulk, more human than monster. What if? What if Hulk can't control it? What if Banner stays buried? What if trying to help just makes things worse? Then we face that together, Padme said. But I don't believe Banner is gone. I'm talking to him right now, aren't I? You're in there, Dr. Banner, fighting to be heard through the rage. Maybe what you need isn't isolation or suppression. Maybe you need integration. To stop seeing the Hulk as something separate and start seeing him as part of you. Psychology. The Hulk snorted, but there was interest in his tone. Banner, read about that. Split personality disorders. Dissociative identity. Banner and Hulk, two minds in one body. But how do you integrate when one half just wants to think and other half just wants to smash? Before Padme could answer, the air shimmered. Not with a hologram this time, but with something else, force energy, gathered and focused. Count Dooku materialized via holographic projection again. But this time he wasn't alone. The image showed him standing in what looked like a medical facility, surrounded by scientific equipment and droids. Forgive the interruption, Dooku said smoothly. But I couldn't help overhearing. Integration, you say? Fascinating approach, Senator. But I wonder if you have the resources to truly help our green friend here. The Republic's scientists are competent, but they're bound by Jedi philosophy, by regulations, by moral constraints that limit experimentation. You're not welcome here, Dooku, Padme said coldly. I'm not physically present, so technically I'm not anywhere. Dooku replied with aristocratic amusement. I'm simply making an offer to Dr. Banner. The Confederacy has facilities that specialize in biological augmentation, genetic manipulation, and energy field research. We've created living weapons, yes, but we've also cured diseases the Republic deemed incurable. We could study your condition without judgment, without fear, without the Jedi's narrow moral framework. The Hulk's eyes narrowed. Old man wants to turn Hulk into weapon for his war. Hulk, not stupid. I want to give you what you want. Control, Dooku corrected. Imagine being able to transform at will, maintain Banner's intellect while possessing Hulk's strength. Imagine being able to choose when to be powerful rather than having rage control you. The Separatists have the science. We have the will. All we lack is a willing subject. He's not a subject, Padme insisted. He's a person the Republic is already planning to contain, Dooku said, and gestured. His hologram shifted to show security footage from the Senate. Arguments about constructing a specialized prison. Debates about whether the Hulk should be considered a sentient being with rights or a biological hazard to be quarantined. The Hulk watched the footage, his fists clenching. Even with Padme's compassion, even with her promises, the government she represented was already discussing caging him. Just like always. Just like everywhere. Hulk sees, he said quietly. Little lady means well. But little lady can't stop her government from being afraid. Can't stop them from wanting to lock Hulk away for everyone's safety. That's not the whole Senate, Padme protested. There are many who. Enough people, the Hulk interrupted. Enough people who see monster. Enough people with power to make cages. He stood, his massive form silhouetted against the moons. Maybe old Dooku man is right. Maybe Separatists only ones honest about what they want. At least they don't pretend to care while planning prison. No, Padme said firmly. You're making a false choice. Neither side is perfect. But at least the Republic has laws, accountability, voices like mine that can advocate for you. The Separatists will use you and discard you. Dooku serves a Sith Lord who sees everyone as tools. And Jedi see everyone as problems to solve. The Hulk shot back. What difference does it make? That's when the sky erupted with light. Not weapons fire, but something else, a massive energy surge from orbit. Alarms wailed across Coruscant as sensors detected an unprecedented power buildup aboard a vessel that had just emerged from hyperspace, a modified subjugator-class heavy cruiser, bristling with experimental weapons. Admiral Trench's mechanical voice crackled. Across open channels, this is the Separatist Navy to all Coruscant Defense Forces. We have deployed an experimental gravity well generator capable of crushing this pathetic capital world into a singularity. Surrender the gamma-powered being within 1 hour, or we demonstrate our weapon on your Senate district. Count Dooku has authorized any means necessary. The ultimatum hung in the air like poison. Thousands of Republic ships scrambled to intercept, but the subjugator's shields were holding against the initial assault. The gravity weapon began charging, visible as a purple sphere of compressed space forming at the ship's bow. They're insane, Padme breathed. They'd destroy an entire city district to capture one being? Not insane, the Hulk said, his voice hollow. Desperate. Because Hulk is that powerful, that dangerous, that worth the cost. He looked at Padme with something approaching pity. This is what Hulk brings wherever he goes. Destruction. Not because Hulk is evil, because everyone who wants to control Hulk will burn the world to do it. Then don't let them, Padme urged. Help us stop them. You have the power to. To what? Smash their ship? Then Republic builds bigger ship to catch Hulk. Smash that. Then Separatists build weapon that can crack planets. Where does it end? The Hulk shook his head. It never ends. Because Hulk himself is the problem. As long as Hulk exists, people fight over him. Dooku's hologram flickered with satisfaction. You see? This is what the Republic's protection means. Escalation until everyone suffers. Come with us, Dr. Banner. Let us study you peacefully, away from this war. No ultimatums. No gravity weapons. Just science. The Hulk looked between Padme and Dooku's hologram, then up at the subjugator charging its planet-killer weapon. Every choice was wrong. Every path led to more destruction. Stay with the Republic and be imprisoned. Join the Separatists and be weaponized. Fight both and watch them tear the galaxy apart trying to capture or kill him. Unless there was a fourth option. Hulk not choosing sides, he said slowly. Hulk choosing himself. He crouched, muscles coiling like springs. Padme realized what he was about to do a second before he moved. Wait, don't. But the Hulk was already leaping, not away from the conflict, but toward it. Straight up, defying gravity with pure gamma-powered strength. A green comet rising through Coruscant's atmosphere toward the subjugator waiting in orbit. He's going after the ship. Obi-Wan's voice came over Padme's comm from his fighter. Alone. Is he trying to commit suicide? No, Padme said, understanding dawning. He's trying to remove himself as the prize. If he destroys the weapon threatening Coruscant, both sides lose their leverage over him. He's buying his own freedom the only way he knows how, through strength. The Hulk broke through the atmosphere, entering the vacuum of space. For a moment, the cold and lack of air should have killed him. But his gamma-radiated biology adapted in real time, his body reconfiguring its oxygen requirements, his skin hardening against the temperature extremes. He hung suspended in the orbital space, looking down at the city planet below and up at the subjugator ahead. Admiral Trench, monitoring the approach, could hardly believe his sensors. The creature can survive vacuum? Impossible. Fire all weapons, Dooku commanded via hologram. If we cannot capture him, ensure the Republic cannot have him. The subjugator's entire arsenal opened up, turbolasers, ion cannons, proton torpedoes, every weapon system designed to shred capital ships. The barrage converged on a single point, the Hulk. For a moment, he disappeared in the light of 1,000 explosions. Then he emerged, wreathed in smoke and fury, his body scorched but healing, his rage transcending even the void of space. Hulk. Smash. Spaceship. He crashed into the subjugator's hull like a. He crashed into the subjugator's hull like a meteor, his fists driving completely through multiple decks. Inside, battle droids scrambled to respond. But he was already moving, tearing through the ship's infrastructure with methodical rage. Every bulkhead, every support beam, every critical system. He found them and destroyed them with terrifying efficiency. This wasn't mindless smashing anymore. This was Banner's intellect guiding Hulk's strength, identifying weak points, targeting vulnerable systems. The scientist and the monster, working together for the first time, united in a single purpose, survive. Admiral Trench abandoned ship as the subjugator began breaking apart. The gravity weapon, still charged but no longer controlled, began to destabilize. Obi-Wan, monitoring from his fighter, felt ice in his veins as he realized what was about to happen. The weapon's going to discharge. Everyone get clear. The gravity well generator imploded, taking most of the subjugator with it, creating a temporary singularity that swallowed debris, escape pods, and anything within its event horizon. But at the center of the collapsing space, the Hulk stood firm, his body acting as an anchor, his impossible strength literally holding back. A black hole through sheer force of will. For 10 eternal seconds, he strained against gravity itself, his muscles glowing with gamma radiation, his roar silent in the vacuum but felt through the force by every Jedi on Coruscant. Then, with one final surge of strength, he punched the singularity. The scientific impossibility of what happened next would perplex physicists for generations. The gravity, well, didn't just collapse, it reversed, exploding outward, in a pulse that scattered the subjugator's remains across the entire sector and knocked every ship in orbit back several kilometers. When the sensors cleared, the Hulk was gone. Meteor, his fist driving completely through multiple decks. Inside, battle droids scrambled to respond. But he was already moving, tearing through the ship's infrastructure with methodical rage. Every bulkhead, every support beam, every critical system. He found them and destroyed them with terrifying efficiency. This wasn't mindless smashing anymore. This was Banner's intellect guiding Hulk's strength, identifying weak points, targeting vulnerable systems. The scientist and the monster, working together for the first time, united in a single purpose: survive. Admiral Trench abandoned ship as the subjugator began breaking apart. The gravity weapon, still charged but no longer controlled, began to destabilize. Obi-Wan, monitoring from his fighter, felt ice in his veins as he realized what was about to happen. The weapon's going to discharge. Everyone get clear. The gravity well generator imploded, taking most of the subjugator with it, creating a temporary singularity that swallowed debris, escape pods, and anything within its event horizon. But at the center of the collapsing space, the Hulk stood firm, his body acting as an anchor, his impossible strength literally holding back. A black hole through sheer force of will. For 10 eternal seconds, he strained against gravity itself, his muscles glowing with gamma radiation, his roar silent in the vacuum but felt through the force by every Jedi on Coruscant. Then, with one final surge of strength, he punched the singularity. The scientific impossibility of what happened next would perplex physicists for generations. The gravity well didn't just collapse, it reversed, exploding outward, in a pulse that scattered the subjugator's remains across the entire sector and knocked every ship in orbit back several kilometers. When the sensors cleared, the Hulk was gone. The search for the Hulk consumed Coruscant for 3 days. Republic scouts scoured every level of the city planet, from the gleaming Senate districts to the forgotten depths where sunlight never reached. Separatist spies did the same, operating covertly despite the ceasefire that had emerged from the crisis. Both sides too shaken by what they'd witnessed to continue open hostilities on the capital world. The Jedi Order deployed every available force sensitive to scan for the gamma signature that should have been impossible to hide. They found nothing. The Hulk had vanished as completely as if he'd never existed. On the 4th day, Padme Amidala stood in her apartment overlooking the cityscape, watching the reconstruction efforts. The damage from the Hulk's initial rampage was already being repaired. Coruscant had become efficient at rebuilding after years of war, but the psychological damage would take longer to heal. The galaxy had seen something that challenged every assumption about power, about the Force, about what was possible. "You should eat something," Anakin said softly, coming up behind her and wrapping his arms around her waist. Their marriage remained secret, but in the privacy of her quarters, they could be honest. "You haven't slept properly since he disappeared." "I failed him," Padme said, not turning from the window. "I promised to help, and instead I led hunters to him. I offered trust and delivered betrayal, even if it wasn't intentional. He saved this entire city by destroying that weapon. And our response is to intensify the search to capture him." "The Senate is afraid," Anakin said. "Fear makes people do terrible things. You taught me that. Then maybe we should be more afraid of what we're becoming than what he is." Padme finally turned to face her husband. "Did you see the recordings from the subjugator?" The Hulk, Bruce, held back a singularity through pure strength and will. He performed a feat that violates every law of physics we understand. And yet the first instinct of both Republic and Separatists is to weaponize him. Not help him. Not try to understand him. Just use him. Anakin was quiet for a moment, his blue eyes troubled. "When I fought him, briefly, I felt something. Not in the Force. He exists outside the Force somehow. But I recognized something in his eyes. Desperation. The need to protect himself because no one else will. I felt that way when I was a slave. When the Jedi Council doubted me. When I feared losing you." He held her closer. "Maybe that's why this bothers you so much. Because you see what this galaxy does to people who are different, powerful and alone." A soft chime interrupted them. C-3PO announcing a visitor. When Padme opened the door, she found Master Yoda waiting, his jimmer stick tapping softly against the floor. Senator Amidala, speak with you, I must. They settled in her sitting room, Anakin standing guard despite Yoda's gesture that he should stay. The ancient Jedi Master studied Padme with eyes that had witnessed 8 centuries of galactic history. Blame yourself, you do, Yoda observed, for the creature's disappearance. Unnecessary, this guilt is. With respect, Master Yoda, I made him a promise I couldn't keep. I told him he'd be safe, and instead both sides try to capture or kill him. He has every right to distrust me, to distrust all of us. And yet, destroy Coruscant, he did not. Save it, he did. Curious, this is. Monster, a true one would be, such power would corrupt. Use it for destruction. But Dr. Banner, Hulk, used power to eliminate threat, then disappeared. Not behavior of monster. Behavior of. Yoda paused, searching for the word. Hero, perhaps. Reluctant. Angry. Damaged. But hero nonetheless. If he's a hero, why are we still hunting him? Anakin asked. Because fear, we do, Yoda said sadly. Understand, the Council does not. Control, we cannot. This frightens us. Admit this, we should. Honest about our failings, we must be. He turned to Padme. A message, he left. For you only. Found it. Our scouts did, in the industrial sector where first you spoke. Yoda produced a small hollow projector. The recording was crude, clearly made with salvaged equipment. But the image was clear enough. The Hulk, sitting in the ruins, speaking with careful deliberation. Little lady with kind eyes. The recorded Hulk began, his voice quieter than Padme had ever heard it. Hulk is sorry. For smashing. For hurting people. For being problem. Hulk knows little lady tried to help. Hulk knows little lady meant promises she made. But galaxy too broken. Too afraid. Too much war. No place for Hulk here. The image flickered, and when it stabilized, something had changed. The Hulk's eyes showed more intelligence, more awareness. Banner was closer to the surface. Then don't let them, Padme urged. Help us stop them. You have the power to. To what? Smash their ship? Then Republic builds bigger ship to catch Hulk. Smash that. Then Separatists build weapon that can crack planets. Where does it end? The Hulk shook his head. It never ends. Because Hulk himself is the problem. As long as Hulk exists, people fight over him. Dooku's hologram flickered with satisfaction. You see? This is what the Republic's protection means. Escalation until everyone suffers. Come with us, Dr. Banner. Let us study you peacefully, away from this war. No ultimatums. No gravity weapons. Just science. The Hulk looked between Padme and Dooku's hologram, then up at the subjugator charging its planet-killer weapon. Every choice was wrong. Every path led to more destruction. Stay with the Republic and be imprisoned. Join the Separatists and be weaponized. Fight both and watch them tear the galaxy apart trying to capture or kill him. Unless there was a fourth option. Hulk not choosing sides, he said slowly. Hulk choosing himself. He crouched, muscles coiling like springs. Padme realized what he was about to do a second before he moved. Wait, don't. But the Hulk was already leaping, not away from the conflict, but toward it. Straight up, defying gravity with pure gamma-powered strength. A green comet rising through Coruscant's atmosphere toward the subjugator waiting in orbit. He's going after the ship. Obi-Wan's voice came over Padme's comm from his fighter. Alone. Is he trying to commit suicide? No. Padme said, understanding dawning. He's trying to remove himself as the prize. If he destroys the weapon threatening Coruscant, both sides lose their leverage over him. He's buying his own freedom the only way he knows how, through strength. The Hulk broke through the atmosphere, entering the vacuum of space. For a moment, the cold and lack of air should have killed him. But his gamma-radiated biology adapted in real time, his body reconfiguring its oxygen requirements, his skin hardening against the temperature extremes. He hung suspended in the orbital space, looking down at the city planet below and up at the subjugator ahead. Admiral Trench, monitoring the approach, could hardly believe his sensors. The creature can survive vacuum? Impossible. Fire all weapons, Dooku commanded via hologram. If we cannot capture him, ensure the Republic cannot have him. The subjugator's entire arsenal opened up, turbo lasers, ion cannons, proton torpedoes, every weapon system designed to shred capital ships. The barrage converged on a single point, the Hulk. For a moment, he disappeared in the light of 1,000 explosions. Then he emerged, wreathed in smoke and fury, his body scorched but healing, his rage transcending even the void of space. Hulk. Smash. Spaceship. I've been thinking. Actually thinking, not just raging. The fight with the ship. Having to use strength and smarts together, something clicked. Banner and Hulk. Maybe we don't have to be separate. Maybe we can be integrated. One person, one mind. The Hulk, or was it Banner? Look directly at the recorder. I'm leaving Coruscant. Going to the outer rim where there's space, wilderness. Places where a green giant won't hurt anyone. Maybe I can find peace out there. Maybe I can figure out who I am when I'm not being hunted. The message paused, then continued with obvious difficulty. Tell the Jedi? Tell them I'm sorry their weapons didn't work on me. Wasn't trying to disrespect their power. Just gamma radiation and force don't mix well. Tell the Republic. Tell them they've got enough wars without adding me to the list. And tell the Separatists if they come after me again. Hulk won't hold back next time. Then his expression softened, became almost gentle. And tell Senator Amidala. Tell her Bruce Banner says thank you. For seeing person instead of monster. For trying. That meant more than she knows. In all the universes Banner traveled through, nobody looked at Hulk the way she did. With compassion. Real compassion, not pity. That's worth something. Worth a lot, actually. The recording ended. Padme found tears on her cheeks and didn't bother wiping them away. He's out there alone, she said. Trying to heal himself without help. That's not a monster. That's someone who's given up on being understood. Perhaps, Yoda said thoughtfully. Or perhaps, someone who needs solitude before accepting help. Space to breathe. Time to integrate. The outer rim, vast it is. Many worlds where one could hide. Or find themselves. His ears twitched with something that might have been approval. Send scouts, we will not. Pursue him further, we shall not. If Dr. Banner wishes solitude, grant it we should. Owe him that much, we do. The Senate won't like that, Anakin observed. The Senate, many things about this war, does not like, Yoda replied. Learn to live with disappointment. They must. Besides, and here the ancient master's eyes glinted with something almost mischievous. Being that can hold back black holes, survive vacuum, and shrug off turbolaser fire? Better as friend than enemy, such a being would be. Let him go. If returns he does, perhaps circumstances better will be. Over the following weeks, reports filtered in from outer rim worlds. Sightings of a green giant on Dantooine, helping farmers rebuild after a pirate raid. A story from Felucia about something massive that drove off a separatist harvesting operation that was strip mining the planet's fungal forests. Rumors on Lothal of a green spirit that protected livestock from predators and then disappeared into the wilderness. The Hulk was still there, still moving through the galaxy. But he'd stopped smashing and started helping. Small acts. Nothing that drew major attention, but enough to suggest that maybe integration was working. Maybe Banner and Hulk were learning to coexist. In the Senate, debates continued about the Gamma threat. But without concrete locations or recent destruction, the urgency faded. The Clone Wars ground on, consuming attention and resources. The Hulk became a legend, a cautionary tale, a mystery that wouldn't be solved. Count Dooku, in his fortress on Sereno, contemplated his failure to acquire the ultimate weapon. But he was nothing if not patient. The creature was still in the galaxy. Opportunities would present themselves. And when they did, he would be ready with a more subtle approach. After all, Dr. Banner had proven he valued compassion. Perhaps that could be leveraged. Darth Sidious, pulling strings from every shadow, made his own calculations. The Hulk represented chaos, dangerous, but chaos could be useful. He filed away the data his inquisitors had gathered. Gamma radiation levels, psychological profiles, combat capabilities. Everything had a weakness. Even gods could fall, given the right pressure applied at the right moment. But for now, let the creature wander. Let him believe he'd found freedom. Tools were more useful when they thought they chose their path. 3 months after the Hulk's arrival, Padme received a second message. This one was delivered by a nervous moisture farmer from Tatooine who claimed a big green fellow had saved his family from Tusken raiders and asked him to deliver something to the senator. with kind eyes on Coruscant. The message was text only, written in surprisingly elegant handwriting on salvaged flimsoplast. Senator Amidala. I'm writing this as Bruce Banner. Fully Banner, not Hulk. Though he's here too, we're learning to share space in this head of ours. Integration is possible. Difficult, but possible. Takes meditation, self-awareness, and accepting that Banner and Hulk aren't enemies. We're survival responses to trauma. Different aspects of the same person. I'm on Tatooine. The desert reminds me of New Mexico, where the accident happened. Felt right to come here. The twin suns affect my gamma signature in interesting ways, seem to stabilize it. I can maintain Banner form for days at a time now. Transform when needed, stay in control. It's progress. I'm helping where I can. Small things. Moving boulders for moisture farmers. Scaring off crate dragons. Nothing that draws attention from your war. Speaking of which, be careful, Senator. I've seen wars like this before. They corrupt everything they touch. The republic you're fighting for isn't the same republic you started with. And that Palpatine fellow? Something about him sets off every alarm Banner's scientific mind has. Can't explain it. Just watch him. I don't know if I'll ever find a way home. The dimensional rift that brought me here collapsed. Might be stuck in your galaxy permanently. But if I am, maybe that's okay. You've got problems here. Big ones. Tyranny, oppression, the strong preying on the weak. Hulk understands that. Banner understands that. Together, we might be able to help. Not as a weapon, not as a soldier, just as someone who happens to be in the right place to do the right thing. Thank you for seeing me as a person. In all my years, across universes, that's rare. You gave me something I'd lost. Hope that somewhere, someone could look past the monster. If you ever need help, real help, not politics or intrigue, leave word at Mos Eisley Cantina. Ask for the Green Ronin. Yeah, I know, dramatic. But anonymity is useful when you're gamma-powered and occasionally 9 feet tall. Stay safe, Senator. Your galaxy needs people like you. Bruce Banner and Hulk. Who wants me to add? Hulk still doesn't like Jedi, but little lady okay. Padme laughed through tears as she read the last line. She showed the letter to Anakin, who read it with a mixture of relief and concern. He warned you about the Chancellor, Anakin noted. Why would he do that? I don't know, Padme said honestly. But Bruce Banner is a scientist. Scientists observe patterns. Maybe he sees something. We're too close to notice. She folded the letter carefully. The question is, what do we do with this information? Keep it secret, Anakin decided. If the Senate knew he was on Tatooine, there'd be another manhunt. Let him have his peace. Let him heal. And if he's right about the Chancellor? He trailed off, unwilling to voice suspicions about the man who'd been a mentor. Then we watch, Padme finished. We pay attention. We remember that sometimes the most dangerous threats don't look like gamma-powered giants. They look like politicians and smile while they tighten the chains. Far from Coruscant, on a planet of sand and twin suns, Bruce Banner sat outside a small cave he'd claimed as shelter. The Hulk was still there, still part of him, but integrated now. They shared thoughts, shared purpose, shared existence. When anger came, Banner didn't suppress it. He acknowledged it. Let it flow through, and the Hulk didn't take control. When danger came, Banner could transform with intent, maintain his mind even in Hulk form. It wasn't perfect. Integration was a constant practice, not a destination. But it was progress. He looked up at the stars, different constellations than Earth's, but stars nonetheless. Somewhere out there, his universe continued. The Avengers probably thought he was dead. Betty Ross had probably moved on. His old life was gone. The Empire would learn what the Separatists discovered. You cannot control what cannot be manipulated. You cannot cage what adapts to every prison. And you cannot defeat what grows stronger from every attack. Bruce Banner had been given a second chance in a new galaxy. He chose to use it protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. The Republic had failed him. The Jedi had failed him. But Padme Amidala had shown him that compassion still existed in the darkness. And for that gift, he would fight to preserve it. The Clone Wars had birthed many legends. But none would prove as enduring, as complicated, or as ultimately heroic as the story of the scientist who became a monster, learned to integrate his rage with his conscience, and chose to be the hero his fractured psyche had always needed him to be. Somewhere in the Force's vast tapestry, a gamma-powered thread weaved through destiny. untouchable by the mystical field but affecting every life it encountered. The Hulk had arrived by accident. He would stay by choice. And the galaxy would never be the same. Against all odds, in a universe not his own, Dr. Bruce Banner finally found what had eluded him across realities. Not a cure, but acceptance. Not control, but balance. Not suppression, but integration. He found peace. And from that peace, he would forge strength enough to shake the very foundations of the empire yet to come.